Okay, everybody, thank you again so much for joining us today and for the first session of Elevate Print. 15 industry organizations jumped in to participate with us. We have Morton from Inkish TV, who's manning, basically directing this entire event for the 3 days. And Karis Kopp from Karis Kopp Media is manning the chat. So we will all be visible at the end of this presentation. But I wanted to start off the event with talking about where we are and where we're going next as far as finding some print work. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Deborah Corn, and I was a print buyer in advertising agencies for more than 25 years. I started a LinkedIn group called Print Production Professionals, which I hope most of you are members of. It's the #1 print group in the world, certainly the #1 on LinkedIn. There's over 100,000 members of print and marketing community from the entire Printerverse. Along the way, I started a company with 2 gentlemen from England who have since departed, and it was called Print Media Center. Marketing community from the entire Printerverse. Somebody's microphone is live. Thank you. A company with 2 gentlemen from England who have since departed, and it was called Morton Media Center. Marketing community from the entire Printerverse. Somebody's microphone is live. Thank you. Okay. Hopefully everybody can still hear me. So Print Media Center is involved in many community initiatives, and I'm proud, so proud, that the latest one is Elevate Print. And as well as this event, I now have resources on my website if people are looking to expand their business partners. So everybody should check that out. I'm going to keep it, pretty simple today. This is the agenda. We're going to touch upon 3 areas and then move right into some cool and crazy ideas that I've had for everybody. So where are we currently? Customers, print customers out there, whether they are professional or consumers on the street, are still in crisis mode. You still want to help them and be in help mode and not in sell mode. And that really defines every touch point that you make with them should be around helping them and not selling to them, which also includes not asking them what they need. That is not helpful at all. That is sales. That's about you. Helping is saying, I understand you've just opened your store. Here's how we can help you find more customers. When it comes to productization and education, the easiest way that you can make it's simple for people to do business with you is to create packages for whatever ecosystem you're going to try to sell into, and with a menu that people can choose from. Again, if I'm in a crisis and I'm looking for help, I just want to know what is available to me. And you can package these things so you can also, create different values and have people spend different amounts of money on the packages. You consistently want to educate them and teach them about what they need and what their options might be versus asking them. There's still a lot of salespeople, coaches, and advice out there about, calling people and asking them how you can help. And, the customers I've been speaking to are like, that's the last thing that they really want to deal with right now. They kind of just want to be helped because a lot of them don't realize the type of help that they need. This is a great time to start thinking about initiating repeatable programs for people. For example, subscriptions for, COVID graphics to be changed quarterly if there's a high traffic store or building or whatever it might be. If you think about every door direct mail carrier routes, you can create repeatable programs that touch different carrier routes quarterly, weekly, monthly, whatever, seasonally, whatever works for that business or that store. But the the goal here is to help people by giving them a potential plan and a ballpark for costs so that they can monitor what those might be if they want to take you up on these opportunities, and they can budget for them way in advance. Have any of your processes changed during the pandemic? And what about, is your ordering system different? Or is everybody in the office? Are you still taking payments the same way? Are you offering the same payment terms? All of the fine print needs to come to the surface now. There should be no surprises and no obstacles when customers are trying to work with you. Remember, think of them in crisis mode. If they budgeted for something, they don't want to know at the end, oh, well, I didn't mention this, but then there's this cost too. That is not what you want to do now. You want to make it as simple and clear as possible for everybody to work with you, and that includes your website. If I am randomly visiting from a web search or something, it should be very, very clear to me how I can do business with you and what all your terms are for new customers as well. For customers you already do business with, you should be obviously in direct communication with them about everything I just mentioned, but you also need to understand their buying processes if they have changed. Are they saying, well, we used to pay in 30, now we don't pay for 60 or 90? I mean, or honestly, I've heard worse. So you don't want to be stuck holding the bag when it comes to payments. And unfortunately, it has become a topic that many printers are dealing with. So just try to, get all that information up front as much as you possibly can. When it comes to essential print, this is really important because originally, at least in the United States, print was deemed essential because of its relationship to the United States Post Office, ironically. And since then, other applications have certainly taken off, and the print industry has stepped up in amazing ways. If you saw the Thank a Printer video that Morton and I created, showing the amazing things that printers have been doing in the pandemic. But essential print is kind of moving into another box now, which is falling more into, do I really need this? That is what essential is. We're not talking about safety graphics and COVID-related items. Everybody needs that if you are having people around. But other print is looked at much more carefully now. Frivolous sales calls, hey, what do you got going on? It's pretty much the worst thing you can be doing. People are still getting laid off. Businesses are still closing. You don't want to be fishing. You want to go in with information that you know. Every outreach should be as relevant and targeted as possible, and to help the businesses and the customers and the prospects you might be reaching out with wherever they are in their recovery process. For example, have they been open for a while, whether it's a law firm or a gym? And are they focusing on customer loyalty and customer retention or customer acquisition? If they're a string of dry cleaners or a restaurant chain that you might do business with, are they closing locations or consolidating? Have their hours changed? Knowing this information, you can go in and with clear, relevant messaging for where they are, and again, help, don't sell. And before you reach out, of course, have a menu of packages and opportunities for them, and back it up with as much facts as you possibly can, because this is where we establish trust in this moment right here through appropriate touch points with the right opportunities at the right time, because customers need data for decisions. Essential print, essential spending. What am I going to get out of this piece of marketing for my business? Think about yourself. I mean, I make decisions every day about what if I buy this, what aren't I going to buy? While money's tight and jobs are, not exactly flowing as they used to. It's the same for everybody. It's certainly the same for your customers. Every dollar, pound, and euro will need to be qualified and quantified before it's spent. And that is honestly the new normal of purchasing, at least for now. And it's probably the only time I'm going to use that expression, because I'm not trying to get back to any normal anything. I want to obviously elevate print and, go beyond. But for right now, for customers, they're not going to get rid of those dollars and euros and everything else unless there is something backing it up. So when it comes to creativity and consistency, there are so many people online now, and they're searching for things, and they really don't know what they're called. We know that they're called window clings. We might know they're called floor graphics or safety graphics. I mean, someone might be searching sticker for my floor. You never really know. But the most important thing is that if they land on your website, you want to give them an instant glossary so they can figure it out. And certainly the best way to do that is with pictures. I might not know it's called a window cling, but if I see it, a picture of it in a window and there's writing on it, I can say, aha, that's what I've been looking for. So your website should become a resource for all of this information and provide thought leadership on topics. For example, how to find new customers in a pandemic. Have content related to that. Show people that you are experts in city, state, providence, country guidelines for anything related to COVID, and you are the expert, and you can come in and assess their businesses and tell them exactly what they need to be compliant with any rules that buildings or municipalities may have about signage. Certainly, this is a great place to share your information about your packages and your subscription programs as well, because you're going to, focusing on that type of work. You also, want to be thought of as a resource of information about marketing during the last 6 months. Nobody wants to hear stats from 2019. I don't even want to hear stats from January. We've been very fortunate to, every Friday we do Fierce Fabulous Fridays for Girls Who Print. We've had some amazing presenters, and no one is allowed on that webinar if they are, talking about anything that happened before March. So you want to show people you know how to get it done in a pandemic. This is what you have done in the last 6 months. It does not matter what you have done in the last 6 years. That's great backup. That should all be on your site, but that is not what is going to hook people now. It's what you have been doing. And in that, there is, the thought leadership is also applied to generating new ideas that your customers and prospects might not have thought of, or taking a standard idea and moving a little further down with it. This is not about positioning your print shop as a marketing service provider. This is about survival and about generating ways of making money within what is acceptable to promote at any given moment of time, and predicting what might be acceptable as we move along in Corona. Now, I truly believe that there is print business out there waiting for everybody. And the rest of this presentation, I'm going to focus on sharing some Printspirational ideas that you can steal or build upon, however that might work. So starting with make a video, which might seem weird speaking at a print conference, but YouTube is the second largest search engine and the third most visited website on planet Earth. This is a great opportunity to create video media kits about your company, video sample kits about everything that you can produce. Short, 60-second or less, videos of, hey, this is this. And if you want one, just reach out and we will send you one, which is also a great way of locating customers who might not be at work. Virtual About Us. I think this is a great opportunity to let people out in the world know who is at your print shop, who is working, who is coming in and staying socially distanced, or working in 3 shifts to get things in the mail and things delivered where they need to go. Humanness matters now. People really are looking, to, if they're going to spend that money, essential money, they want to put it where it also matters to them. A great time to make a virtual tour of your plant. And I don't mean a Martin Scorsese single shot, in Goodfellas, that single shot in the beginning. I don't mean anything like that. Just a very simple look at everything we have been doing these last 6 months, and these are all the things that we could do with you if you were working with us. Searches for how-to videos grow 70% year over year. This has not gone away in the pandemic. It's probably actually grown. The stat is from May. Tips and tricks video. It may be, honestly, if people are doing a lot of safety graphics or clings and there's a different way to design for them, that's a good thing to do. I would focus more on how to save money on a mailing, how to save money on this, how to most bang for your buck type of things. These are what customers are kind of focused on: essential print, essential money. United States Post Office promos. There are 1 million of them coming up, and we actually have a session this afternoon with Erica Switzer and Christine Erna. We're going to review those, but the United States Post Office website has a information about all of this. You have to qualify. You have there's rules about it. So look now, especially because they have a mobile shopping promotion coming up. I believe you can actually start registering for it now. But very important to let people know that this is still a viable way to communicate with people. Print for profits and verticals. What do I mean by that? Tell your own case studies. Here is how we helped a shoe store get customers. Here is how we helped a small business grow. Here is how we helped a brand get into up on bus shelters or billboards during a pandemic. Whatever it might be, make a video. People are online, they're watching videos. I watch TV. I watch a lot of TV, and working in advertising agencies for 25 years, I know that this is where the most money is spent. It's also usually where the branding comes from. So the commercial comes out, and then there'll be other digital campaigns and print campaigns, and everything else supports what we see visually. Now, when it comes to cars, this has definitely been the epicenter of new idea generation for me, which might sound a little weird. So the thing to remember, if you start watching commercials, which I definitely think you should, because like I said, it's foreshadowing what it's okay to talk about. It's foreshadowing what products and services are being sold. So you can kind of take those verticals and move them down from the brands to local or to your customers. So let me get back to cars for a moment. So in the car commercials, it's not about the cars at all. Sometimes it's about the financing, which focuses on education. But when it comes to cars, it's about what the people are doing in the cars. This is signaling what is now acceptable behavior. So in the beginning, when in early March in the United States, when things started locking down, there was like lone cars on the road. One day we will be on this road again in your car driving around. And then it shifted to people and families in cars going through drive-throughs because cars are corona-free zone. So now it was telling everybody it's remember, visually, it's giving everybody a signal. Oh, it's okay to get into my car and drive to a restaurant and pick up food. Then it moved to, right before the summer, car trips. And everybody was going to the woods. Now think about that. All of a sudden, no one was going on their planned family vacations. There was no summer camp. Everyone was jumping in the car and saying, we got to go somewhere. We've got to do something. But they weren't prepared. So car trips signaled the appropriateness to talk about tents and camping gear and canoes and anything else that a family or people would need to go camping who have never been camping before. So there's really interesting opportunities in the commercials. And if we look at it in a predictive way, certainly people, now that schools in the United States are opening lights-ish, people are probably not car tripping now, but what's the next car trip going to be? So my prediction is not woods, but mountains. So again, sporting goods stores, what does everybody need to go to the mountains in the winter? Is now the time to go prospecting with those people who sell that stuff and say, hey, this is coming and we can be prepared for this. I'm here to help you generate new business in a few months. This was the most interesting thing to me. I currently live in Florida, and if you watch the news, Florida is a hot spot of a corona situation. So these are actual screenshots from commercials from Spectrum, which is an internet and cable provider. And I don't know why they are splitting when they show them with people practicing masking or safety, and below it's a free-for-all with some hand sanitizer and rubber gloves. So there are mixed messages going out in certain places about what is acceptable when it comes to PPE. So just make sure if you're going to talk about it that people are in that top stage and not that bottom stage. Or if they're confused, just, help them be prepared. But it's really important to know that your vantage point might not be the same vantage point as everybody else. As you can see in my region where I'm getting this commercial, they're not sure, so they're showing both, and I guess allowing people to make their own decisions. The backyard is open. I missed this in the early spring, but people weren't going on vacation, so their backyard became the destination, and that opened up the appropriateness to prospect with people who sell grills and outdoor furniture. And my sister-in-law literally made a movie theater outside. She started off with a sheet, but then she found a screen and a projector. So there's lots of stuff going on in people's backyards when they can't go on vacation. So predictively, what's next? Well, the fall is next. People like fire pits. That's something that could go in the backyard. I always think of smokers in the fall, smoke some barbecue for 12 hours out there while you're watching a football game with, no fans in the stands. Outdoor blankets. Then what's next? Winter needs, shovels, salt, clothing. It seems like, yeah, no kidding, Deborah, but it's really about positioning yourself now to help these people when this need arises, because that's when it will be appropriate to talk about it. It's not appropriate to talk about it right now. People are freaking out about school. They're not thinking about needing a winter coat. Restaurants, honestly, are still targets that I'm focusing on because I can just see where I live that they are still in a lot of trouble. Any way that you can help drive online ordering. I'm not sure. I would assume that counts as mobile shopping, but I guess we'll find out at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Um, Unboxing experience. I was thinking along the lines of, there are still displaced people. Can you work with a restaurant to help them create some sort of like birthday in a box or anniversary in a box? Or there's a lot of foodies out there. Can you get in on curated boxes where people can cook at home? And of course, there's print components there. How do you cook it? Birthday cards, place settings, anniversary notes. I mean, you could think of a million ideas based upon what your capabilities are, but this is really, again, about generating an idea so you can make some business and help customers and prospects also make business. Create an Insta experience. Karis Kopp, who's manning the chat, wrote a lovely blog about how millennials are using print and social media for experiences, and they love those funky backgrounds and displays that they can take photos in front of. Try to get in on that. If that brings somebody to the restaurant to take a photo, win-win for everybody. Creating exclusive events might sound a little strange, but people are still doing Zoom meetings. I've been on actually 2 from SPC Communications, best Zooms going, by the way, that I've had chefs on teaching a cooking class to all of us, and we had the opportunity to go and get the ingredients prior. Maybe there's a way to work that out. And again, all those ingredients, all the information needs to get to somebody somehow, and that's how you can interject yourself into the idea. There's also other things going on that are really interesting out there. For example, my sister-in-law sent me this photo of her town that shut down the street, and all the restaurants got together and created this outdoor dining al fresco in the town. And can you do something like that? Imagine all the print opportunities at this event. I mean, they're just going there to eat, but there's menus, there's signage, so there's some stuff you could do on the tablecloth with tablecloths. There's information about how to even get a table at one of these things. There's a lot of print going on at this, or could be, and the follow-up. Think about all the follow-up opportunities for these restaurants once they secure something as cool as this. These other photos are just random things going on in the world. I really like this dinosaur dragon. It was meant to just be, keep people company while they're eating socially distanced, but why can't that become a mascot or something and sold at the restaurant, or brought home for the kids, or, even bought as an activity that they could do at the table? Underneath that is the partition. That's actually new. I hadn't seen that before. I think that's an amazingly quick solution to any sort of round table situation that might be in an atrium or of a mall, or just think of where you see all these round tables. I don't know how that was constructed, but honestly, it doesn't seem that complicated in the scheme of things. We're starting to see more of these partitions being made. This was early on, but they are showing them all online now, all over the place for schools. They're making them might become, I've seen also some prototypes for bars. I believe you still can't sit at a bar. You can go to a bar, but you can't sit at the bar, at least at Pat McGrew's restaurant. Hopefully that's changed. And the weirdest thing I've seen, excuse me, is definitely the blow-up doll situation. Again, they didn't want empty, 25% capacity of a restaurant means 75% empty tables, and they didn't want to, make people realize it was so sparse in there. So it got some blow-up dolls and put clothes on them, which was random, but I looked at it and thought, how can we monetize that? Well, Obviously, there's an opportunity to dress those dolls in apparel that you have made. Work with local designers, make them say funny things, personalize them, customize them. Let people somehow decide that they want a T-shirt, and there's a mechanism to order one from you online, or a hat, or whatever it may be. There's crazy ideas to generate business from out there if you just, look and have an open mind. Excuse me. The reality of the situation is really not so great. And this stat is from May 21st, but honestly, there has been more closings announced in the news since then. I just didn't want to add them because it was a little depressing. But this is really important because all of these people, unless they have another option, are going to shop online. Or do you have customers, or can you find customers that sell any of the items that these stores going out of business can sell? And now is the time to let everybody in that neighborhood know that, hey, we're still here. And if you want to see it in person, come on in, and here's our processes and everything else that we've spoken about in the beginning of this presentation. This is a great place to talk about, obviously, packages for any sort of COVID graphics and replacing them as regulations change. This is a great way to, if you think about a strip mall or a row of shops, as you say, out of the US, to geo-target a single strip mall row of shop location, work with all of them to gang up some sort of promotion for that exact shopping area, so that you're, regardless of if I went for the pizza, but there's a dry cleaner next door, a shoe store next door, or a tanning salon next door, whatever might be open, you're helping create business for that block of stores versus a whole region. So it will be easier, I believe, to get people to, agree to participate, especially if you're ganging up the price so that everyone can share it. As I mentioned, USPS is having a mobile shopping thing, and Erica Switzer and Christine Erner will be presenting that this afternoon. Just catch the replay. They're going to give you all the information you need, but you can also see it at the USPS website for their promotions. This was actually a great idea, and I'm going to give Matthew Parker the credit for it because he did come up with it, but I told him I was stealing it, so I'm stealing it. I was, in the beginning, thought, contact the local chambers of commerce in your neighborhood and talk to them about, the retail recovery program that you've created, or the small business recovery program, or the restaurant recovery program. But why wait for them? You can actually host your own Zoom where you invite the verticals, everybody you can find in that vertical, and talk to them specifically about how they can generate new business. Not about the print that you sell, because you're there to help them. You're there to give them ideas. And if they want to execute any of them, of course, you are there to help them. You could also invite the chambers of commerce to join you. None of those people want any more businesses that are already closing in their neighborhoods. For the last 6 months, we have been acutely aware of space and creating distance between us. In the United States, it's still 6 feet. I believe in Europe, it might have moved to 2 feet or 3 feet, but this is probably a moving target, but for right now, it is still 6 feet. And I started thinking, I presented this to Xerox, so they wanted to come up with creative ideas. And what if every space could be transformed into a canvas? And what if every canvas could be transformed into revenue? And what I mean by that is there are wide, vast spaces of advertising space all over the place now. The picture to the far right, the far left is a mall. And that was done early on just to make a quick social distancing execution. But I see all of those boxes as a way to invoke trans promotion. What else can be advertised in those spaces? How can you help the mall generate some money for the print execution? How can you deliver data for results and return on investment for anybody spending the essential money for the essential print? In the baseball stadium, they use the outfield to put banners. This was a prototype. The next to that is a prototype for Miami Dolphins, what it might look like if they closed up the seats for social distancing. Now, I'm not suggesting you knock on Dolphin Stadium, but certainly there's applications in your towns that have seating like that. What I thought was really interesting about the use of the rainbow flags here for Pride Month, it reminded me of the Empire State Building and how every day in the Empire State Building, every night it's sponsored. And there's colors that represent things. And why can't we get in on that? So my idea here is to go to the Empire State Building website, which lists all the colors for all the days and all the organizations that have invested in changing those lights. And they do it in multiple cities too. They do it in other cities, but specifically, if you look at that, use that as a menu and then just try to find somebody who's willing to, be the canvas, allow you to have the canvas. Parking lots. Here we see that we already are starting to see sponsored graphics, and that's really why I'm showing you this. They should not, whether they're advertising, helping to advertise other people or partners of the businesses or additional services. I went to get my hair cut, and the place I was at had just circles in it, and there was no information. And I asked them, they were self-contained units, so they couldn't advertise other products. But I asked them, don't you have services, the other services that maybe people aren't as aware of? And he was like, actually, we do. Nobody really knows that we do manicures and we do massages or whatever else they do. And I was like, well, while I'm standing in line, why can't I read that on the graphics? So he actually asked me for help, and I'm going to refer somebody to him to do that. Everybody knows that these are 6 feet. These are social graphics now. So now it's up to us to use them for something different. Does every single one need to say, stop, wait here? Can every other one say that? And maybe in between there's a promotion or information about something. Certainly, they don't have to just be little circles. We see them being used in different ways on the pictures towards the left. There's a lot of real estate there to use to see what the business that you can generate. We've already seen in the United States that people are starting to put cardboard cutouts in the football and in the stadiums and stuff, but I really enjoy this one from Korea because they're selling products on theirs. So how can we potentially get in on that? There are a lot of displaced sponsors in fields that have no attendees now. If the cameras are going to pan into the stands, maybe we can get some products on those cutouts. Just think about it, especially locally. I really find this very interesting because, in these outdoor spaces in cities and such, in these outdoor situations with cities and such where there is they're putting these circles to keep people distance. And there's a lot of drones, and I just see this as an art project waiting to happen. I don't know what can happen to it, but I think of Dubai and how clever they are with using the satellites and drones to advertise things from the sky. There's something there. I'm just not sure, and it is outside, of course, but put your creative brains to use. As well, these outdoor spaces have become gyms now, and there is no print application here. In the furthest left corner, we see that there's a black standing sign above the woman who's kneeling in the front. And what if every of those circles could be a yoga station to learn a different pose, or learn be calm for 30 seconds. I don't know if you've seen those commercials. It's like every time it comes on, I try to be calm for 30 seconds. But here's an outdoor gym in a parking lot. I mean, there's nothing really to tell that that's going on. Maybe there's a way to interject a print execution here. People have already also started getting pretty crafty with natural solutions. So whether it's crop circles or mowing the grass a certain way, I don't know. Does this become another community art project? Is there a way to get involved, or to commission one, or to work with people, or to send people there? I'm not sure, but it's happening. So we should be aware of it. Also, the situations with seating is predominant, and it's everywhere. So, when I look at this park bench, I think, maybe there's a clever way to, have a pickup line question, or, a don't be shy, talk to somebody, or something kind of clever. I mean, rather than just, don't sit here or you'll infect each other. That's not exactly welcome and inviting. But this is everywhere, and this can change all the time. Print is a excellent medium for changing things out. Another great subscription thing. Maybe you just change colors every month, whatever it might be. Nobody just wants to look at don't sit here signs, and they can't. They don't allow them to for as long as this is potentially going on. Do not overlook the loo, as they say in England. The bathroom is a plethora of signage, and there's a whole bunch of different ways to doing it. The wash your hands on the gray is actually a decal, certainly sink graphics, but I really loved on the right, the furthest right picture, that is from the University of Kentucky, and they have hung up the University of Kentucky's fight song, and they say you have to sing that song, wash your hands, and that is how long you should be washing it for. So that's pretty clever. How can you take that idea and manifest it in some way for people you work with, or people in your region or your neighborhood, or prospects that you might want to work with? So your mission, should you accept it for pandemic prospecting, is be there. Be brave and boldly go where no printer has gone before. I thank you all so much for your time and your attention. And Karis, I'm going to stop the presentation. And if there are any questions, let's take them now.
Okay. Thank you, Deborah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. Firstly, I'd just like to ask a question myself. We know that in a lot of places, unfortunately, recovery isn't linear, because places are opening up and shutting back down, and it's region specific. We can't predict the future, but is there a way that we can kind of mitigate creating content or advertising or marketing that's going to be obsolete, or worse, kind of inappropriate maybe in the near future?
I think that's a great question. And the only way I've kind of figured out to navigate it is to really stay very present. And I have been watching the commercials. I mean, I really kind of think that that's the only way to know what's appropriate, and also feel what's appropriate for you. I mean, I don't want anyone trying to sell me a luxury car right now where I'm debating what I'm going to buy for my groceries, it's not appropriate marketing. But if something's going to come and it's speaking to me about what my current crisis is, I believe everybody's current crisis is if I'm going to spend any money on it, I better need it. So mitigate by not spraying and praying, I would say, is honestly the best answer I have for that. But it's very difficult. You can keep content very lofty. I would not ever talk about, how many people eat dinner out every night when they are talking about 2019, but people still love coupons, so that would apply to pretty much a restaurant now. Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, we had a question early on in the presentation from Warren Werbit that was more about your relationship with your customers at these times. What to do if a client owes you money and wants to order new items? What's the credit situation in the current circumstance?
I mean, I can only speak from my personal experience. And whenever I was working and we owed a printer money and they were like, you need to pay us for the hamburger you ate Tuesday before the next job today. So that's what I would say. Get the money for the last job before you print the new job, and be willing to walk away if you have to, unless you can't afford to lose that client. But can you afford to keep that client? I think these are very personal decisions. And I know that Warren is, rightly so, focused on having these conversations. And I would follow him on social media, and he contributes to what they think, and, find out what him and his printer friends are saying about that. But I would say no credit. No. Anything else?
I think just a couple of other questions that we've had have been around whether the presentations will be available post the event, which I think we know they will be. There'll be replay links for
yes.
Available.
I'm going to send replays to everybody who has registered for all of the events.
Okay.
And if yes,
sorry, I was just going to say, if anyone had any more questions and aren't connected with LinkedIn, which I'm sure is absolutely nobody, your details are now there. And I'm going to turn myself off now.
Bye, Karis Kopp. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody who came. Morton, thank you so much for running the webinar from Inkish. Make sure you follow Morton Rytoft and inkish.tv. Take a visit, and we're going to shut down the webinar and get ready for the next one. Thank you all so much for attending. Really appreciate it.